and welcome to the Beaver News. I'm Kiana Hatch.
And I'm Kamelyn Bovinette. We're so glad you could join us this evening.
To honor all of our service members, there was a Veterans Day ceremony held this past week. Marvin Lewis has the story.
The ceremony will begin with a presentation of the colors by our joint Air Force, Army, Navy, and Marine Corps Color Guard. Please rise for the presentation of the colors and the singing of a national anthem by Mr. Cole Raul Valenzuela.
The 2014 Veterans Day ceremony was hosted by Air Force ROTC in the MU Quad to honor those who have served and are currently serving in the U.S. military. The event featured guest speaker retired Colonel Van Lowen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
The next part of our ceremony will recognize all service members and their families who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Please rise for the rendering of military honors.
Ignore no one. Listen to everyone. They wouldn't be flying jets if they didn't have their stuff kind of raked together pretty well. Listen with your whole body. Listen with your eyes, listen with your ears, listen with everything. Be careful not to be judgmental. Judging is a job of the Lord, and if He wants your help, He'll be the first to ask for it.
A POW MIA table was set up to remember all prisoners of war and missing in action personnel. May we all never forget the sacrifices they made. This has been Marvin Lewis with Beaver News.
Thanks, Marvin. We will always remember what these men and women have done for this country.
When we return, find out where students went to get their sexual health information this week. Also, what cultural event took place in the Native American Longhouse this week? Find out when we come back.
Hi, my name's Teague T.
Eddie Cardenas, Mason Love,
Alex Vickery-Holland,
Laura Gordon, Lisa Rosenthal. We're here to answer any questions, escort students around.
We really just give them this sense of tradition. We help them register for classes.
A big part of being a START leader is showing students around OSU and helping them get a feel for what it's like when they're here at Oregon State.
We serve to help them make a more smooth and positive transition from high school life to college life and to everything involved with it.
We tell the stories of the exceptional students and staff who attend the university, who work here, and who play here.
We have the Barometer where you can write stories for them, become a journalist. We have Beaver News. We have all kinds of different shows for TV.
We're so willing to talk to anybody that is interested in becoming involved with student media. So if you're on the fence thinking, I don't know if I can do this, the answer is yes, you can. Get over here and talk to us.
Welcome back to the Beaver News. The Corvallis Police Department has reported several scams facing OSU students and local residents not to give out their personal information over the phone. Students reported receiving calls from someone claiming to be from the Internal Revenue Service. The caller told students that they owed taxes with the IRS and needed to pay immediately. OSU representatives are advising students that state police do not call citizens seeking payment for tax bills, and those who receive calls are advised to report the call to the Oregon Department of Justice immediately.
If you were at McMiniman's Wednesday night, you may have noticed a full house on the upper level. You may have also heard some pretty interesting things as Kathy Greaves was there for another one of her sex talks. Marvin Lewis has the scoop.
What I'll tell you is that my answer is not going to be very helpful, really, because every guy likes something a little different.
The top floor of McMiniman's was packed with students listening to Kathy Greaves as she hosted another one of her sexy talks, this time pairing up with student health services. This event featured trivia, a sex spelling bee, and a bunch of prizes for the winning teams.
We'd like to create a forum for students to be able to ask sexual health questions that they wouldn't normally get an opportunity to ask. We also think it's a fun environment for students to learn about sexual health information. So we try to do them once a term, like I said, do different formats. So, whether it's trivia or, again, it's just another way for students to get sexual health information.
While this one featured a lot of games, the format of these events are different for everyone. They try to make these events as fun and as educational as possible.
First time we did this, it was all just a straight Q&A. We just had the question and answer boxes, and students would ask questions and we would just answer them. But we thought that it would be a little bit more fun if students could actually participate themselves. Mm-hmm. So we included the trivia piece, and this time we included this sexual health spelling bee. And like I mentioned earlier, we're also trying to develop some other games that would be sexual health related. So we're trying to, again, play a little bit more, make it a little more fun, but still give students the information that they're looking for.
This isn't the only event for the term, as they have more fun stuff planned for the students.
This term, the other events that we're really focusing on is our mobile condom hotspot. So every Wednesday, our Student Health Services flaming golf cart goes out and delivers to all of our 18 different locations on campus.
Make sure you keep up with Student Health Services online as well, as they have cool prizes for students there too.
And we're also going to start a social media campaign, actually starting next week, where it's going to be like, so where's the mobile hotspot today? If they see the mobile hotspot and they ask one of the students, they'll give them a Trojan Fire and Ice condom. I think around the holidays we're going to do chocolate condoms and mint lube with candy canes, and so different things like that.
This has been Marvin Lewis reporting for Beaver News.
For more information on Student Health Services, log on to their website, www.studenthealth.oregonstate.edu, or you can like Student Health on Facebook.
OSU professor Patrick Iverson was the lead scientist on a project to develop a drug that may be used to treat patients infected with the Ebola virus. Iverson conducted a clinical trial on monkeys infected with the virus. Monkeys that received the drug had a 60 to 80% survival rate, while monkeys that did not receive the drug died. The next step could potentially involve trials in West Africa, where nearly 13,000 people are still infected today. The Food and Drug Administration sanctioned an emergency authorization to use the drug in the United States if needed. The FDA has also approved 2 vaccines for testing. The drug is injected in the veins for roughly 30 minutes a day for 2 weeks' time. There has currently been enough manufactured vaccines to treat 20 patients. Producing tens of thousands of doses could take up to a year or more and costing hundreds of millions of dollars. Iverson says there will be more Ebola outbreaks, and it is not a matter of if, but when.
The Native American Longhouse held a cultural event to raise awareness about costumes and mascots that are found offensive. Here is Megan Choi with the story.
A group across the country and even in Canada, and actually during the Super Bowl we trained a not your mascot, and so I'll talk a little about that.
The cultural event, Clowning Our Culture, Why It Matters, was held at the Native American Longhouse Wednesday evening. The event talked about misrepresentation of the Native American culture.
So I think one of the ways that we can combat racism, whether we're aware of it or not, or cultural appropriation on campus as college students, is by attending cultural events, whether they are discussions like this, or presentations, or cultural nights. When we can also, I think, read books or biographies and gain a different perspective about the history of peoples and cultures who we might not relate to or affiliate ourselves.
Students felt that the Native American community has not been recognized to their full potential, and current issues are not receiving enough media coverage.
So one thing that I learned from this event was that I was surprised by how underrepresented the Native American community is, or like how their issues are not taken as seriously, or as it doesn't really have that much coverage in the media. And for example, like she mentioned how it's not offensive for a mascot to be like Redskin or Redface, but if you take a sports team and then call it like the blackface or yellowface, people would actually get offended. So that just, to me, I think, illustrates how most people don't really perceive the Native American culture as, as it should be, like as seriously as it actually is.
So this event that we just had was on Native American mascots, and it's a very current issue in the Native communities, and it's an issue that, like our guest speaker explained, it really affects the self-esteem of Native children and growing up, and affects how they view themselves in societies.
This event showed students the huge impact of these issues on people in our community and why actions are being taken to try and fix these problems. Even large companies such as Nike are being targeted for promoting teams that are seen as offensive.
Some of the stuff around social media that she mentioned, some of the things that happened that she does, I was not aware that Nike was, they were protesting Nike, and it made me more aware of the products and the teams that they kind of promote. So like Nike, sponsoring the Cleveland Indians is interesting, and it really makes you think, what's Nike's responsibility in the future to target those issues. Our speaker was prepared, and she gave a great speech on some issues that a lot of people probably have never thought about before, but issues that are important, and important specifically to Native American community.
This is Megan Choi with Beaver News.
When we come back, we tell you what weather we can expect this coming week. Also, a reenactment of the Berlin Wall being torn down. All that when we return.
Well, it's that time of year again. Time to put away the shorts and t-shirts and get out the jeans and winter coats. It doesn't look like it's going to warm up anytime soon. For more on that, here's Ashley Harriger with the forecast.
Hi, I'm Ashley reporting for Beaver News. Once again, it's time to bring out your rain boots and umbrellas, and you might even want to get your winter coats out, as we're expecting plenty of rain this week, as well as temperatures below freezing. Let's take a look. This evening, we're expecting periods of rain throughout the night with temperatures around 45 degrees. You are definitely going to want to layer up as we head into the weekend. Friday, we're expecting a high of 42, accompanied by an 80% chance of rain all day. As we look into Friday night, the temperatures will drop to around 37 degrees, and we will see that rain carry into the evening. Saturday, we're expecting rain showers in the morning and overcast skies in the afternoon, with temperatures around 42 during the day. Saturday evening will be the first time we see the below freezing temperatures during the week, with expected temperatures around 31 degrees. Sunday, we're expecting mostly cloudy skies and a high of 47. During the day, we will see temperatures drop to around 36 degrees. Don't put your rain boots away as we head into week 8 of the term. Monday, we're expecting a considerable amount of rain and temperatures around 42. Monday night, we will see that rain continue as temperatures fall into the high 30s. Tuesday is following the trend of the rest of the week, with rain throughout the day and temperatures right around 49, dropping down to 38 during the evening. Wednesday, we are expecting clouds with a 70% chance of rain all day and a high around 52. Those rain showers will carry into the evening, and we will see temperatures drop to around 44 degrees. And I'm Ashley reporting for Beaver News.
You know, Kiana, it's been impossible to stay dry this past week walking to class, regardless whether I have an umbrella or a raincoat.
Yeah, that's true. It's almost imperative that you have a hood with whatever you're wearing now, because it rains every single day.
Yeah, you have to be prepared all the time in Oregon. There was a demolition outside of Kidder Hall the other day. Well, kinda. Students piled up cardboard boxes to form a wall, then knocked it down to symbolize the Berlin Wall being torn down. For more on this, here's Holly Clausen with the story.
Last Sunday symbolized 25 years since the Berlin Wall was torn down in Germany.
Yesterday was the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, which kind of signaled the reunification of West and East Germany, and of course the end of the Cold War.
German students at OSU built their own version of a Berlin Wall in remembrance.
So today we basically had German students writing up messages of hope, peace, and social justice and change to paste on the side of cardboard boxes. And then we built a wall out of the cardboard boxes, and then we tore it down to symbolize change and advocating for social justice.
The event was held in the hope that students would be encouraged to find their own personal message of social change, as was done in Germany 25 years ago. This is Holly Clausen with the Beaver News.
When we come back, see what students' reactions are to the parking on campus. Also, what's the big philanthropy event going on this week in Greek life? All that when we return.
Parking is a hot topic on campus right now, as it usually is. OSU continues to restructure parking to try and make things more efficient. But is it paying off? To answer that, Kiana and Ashley Donahue went to the quad to see what students are thinking.
Hi, I'm Kiana Hatch.
And I'm Ashley Donahue.
And this is Questions in the Quad.
Recently this year, Oregon State has restructured parking here on campus. We're out here asking students what they think about the changes.
I have heard a few students complain about the high price of the new parking arrangements, although personally I do not park on campus, and so I am a little bit removed from the issue. I do notice that there are parking lots that are particularly close to campus buildings but that are empty during the day, which seems slightly maybe a poor use of space.
It seems as though there is never enough parking for anyone. I know I brought my car this year, but I did not have $500 to spend on a parking pass, so I park it around the corner and hope that I get a spot, which is kind of difficult sometimes, and it makes it hard to get to class on time.
I think the prices here for parking increase is too high, and the availability for people have decreased due to the fact that it's segregated. There obviously needs to be a change, and there needs to be more available parking for students.
The new parking system hasn't really affected me personally, but for my friends it's been a bit of an issue. I know signing up was really difficult. A lot of people signed up later and then ended up having to get the really expensive parking passes, and they really were not happy about that. So I think it's made things more complicated. Who knows, maybe they'll come up with a better system later.
My general opinion on the parking restructure is quite negative, and it's just because I know it's pulling money away from the students.
The parking situation in Oregon State is far from good, and I'm living in a house that's closer to campus for the sole purpose of not having to drive or ride a bike. That way I can just walk. And if not for that, I'd be living a lot farther from campus, a lot cheaper, but trying to drive to campus and find anywhere to park is crazy hard.
When it comes to tailgaters, they tend to take up all the parking and students have to move their vehicles. When if we built a parking garage behind Reeser, we wouldn't have that problem and we could have all the tailgaters parked there and students can continue parking where they park. It seems a bit hectic and having to park in one spot, and then maybe what if that one spot fills up?
And I really think that there's not enough parking on campus. I know for games that there's so many cars all around and people have to go and park way far away, and especially with fraternities and sororities, there's not enough parking for them either. People are parking on the streets, and just everything's really crowded and busy, and a lot of streets are closed even, so it's hard to get around, especially with the one-way streets. So.
And this has been Questions in the Quad. I'm Ashley Donahue.
And I'm Kiana Hatch, reporting for Beaver News.
You know, for me personally, I have to commute all the way from Albany, so I leave my house about 40 minutes early just to find a parking spot on the street. Otherwise, I could pay $300 for a parking pass.
Yikes. You know, I'm fortunate enough not to have to deal with that because I only live a couple blocks off campus, so I'm just a quick 10-minute walk away from class.
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll reduce the prices soon. Delta had their annual philanthropy Anchor Splash this week to raise money for Service for Sight, raising awareness for the blind. For more on that, here is Madeline Lee and Bree Bauer.
This week, we got in touch with some members of the Delta Gamma sorority and had them expand on their annual philanthropy Anchor Splash.
Anchor Splash is really rewarding. It's one of the biggest philanthropies on the Oregon State campus that involves all of the fraternities and most of the sororities, and each year we're able to donate over $23,000 to the Delta Gamma Foundation.
In addition to daily check-ins in the quad, Delta Gamma encourages Greek members to participate in their evening activities throughout the week.
Greek members get involved during our week of events. On Tuesday, we have our biggest splash competition where we mostly just have the men from the fraternities elect one member to jump off the high dive at Osborne Aquatic Center, and whoever gets the biggest splash wins. And then we also have our swim meet where some girls from our house will coach a fraternity, and they will teach them a little dance that involves them being out of the water and in the water, and then our seniors will elect a winner. And then on Wednesday, we have our day of service where we make baskets for the soldiers overseas, and we'll include little goodies and notes and bars of soap, chapstick, little things like that. And on Thursday, which is our final day, we have our pageant, and it's where each fraternity and sorority that's involved elects one member, and they run for Mr. or Mrs. Anchorsplash. The purpose for these events is to get everybody involved, and it's a really easy and fun way to raise money for our philanthropy service for sight.
If you're interested in helping Delta Gamma raise money for Anchorsplash, feel free to donate on their Member Planet page.
We raise money for the Delta Gamma Foundation, Service for Sight, and Aid to the Blind, which provides education and resources to the blind community, along with scholarships and grants to the members of Delta Gamma. We have been doing Anchorsplash since Delta Gamma came onto campus in Oregon State, and every Delta Gamma throughout the U.S. and Canada participates in Anchorsplash.
Do good. Delta Gamma's motto since 1873 was coined by their founders before the letters Delta Gamma were even chosen. This motto still lives on today, binding the current members with their alumni.
When we have alumni come back, they always talk to us about it, and it'll be our moms and grandmas and friends, and it's really neat to just see how that's brought everybody together and that it's been such a tradition for our house. It's really rewarding being a member of Delta Gamma and seeing all of the events take place and see all of our hard work pay off and the amount of money that we donate to Service for Sight actually benefiting the blind people in our community. But it's also super fun being a coach and seeing another Greek house get super passionate and excited about our philanthropy that means so much to us.
Delta Gamma's philanthropy is recognized as one of Oregon State's largest philanthropies. Last year, they raised $23,000, and this year they're looking to surpass that. This has been Madeline Lee and Bree Bauer with Beaver News.
Thanks, Madeline and Bree. It's good to see the Greek community giving back. When we come back, find out what it's like behind the scenes of a sweatshop. Also, what did Oregon get international recognition for? All that when Beaver News returns. Oldest craft brewery, Bridgeport Brewing Company, informed the public today that their Beer Trilogy 3 Brewers class won the gold at the European Beer Star Awards. Trilogy 3 Brewers Class beer was partially designed by students who are enrolled in the Fermentation Science program at Oregon State. This year's European Beer Star had 1,613 entries from 42 different countries. Each beer was judged based on color, aroma, taste, and general impression. Kudos to those students for representing Oregon State over in Germany and bringing home the gold.
A sweatshop simulation was held in Cascade Hall last weekend. Here's Alyssa Lilquist with the story.
So my project is an exploration of what it's like to work in a factory that produces goods on a mass scale. I'm trying to create as much of a workshop factory experience as I can by having a metronome clicking in the background every second so that it's kind of this overhanging pressure of production kind of eating away at you, this notion of time always on your mind, kind of adding into the stressful work environment that I'm trying to portray. I chose to do this project because it's something that I've always been concerned with, the fact that the majority of our clothes are made in an overseas factory, and for me, I have a hard time buying something if I don't know how it's made. So this was kind of an experiment to experience what it's like for these people that are making our clothes. My design is of a shoe. I wanted to have it be an object that would be relative to its actual size. My initial idea was to do a shirt, but I didn't want it to read like toy or dollish or anything like that. And so I thought that a shoe would be a good object because the size was right. And then Also plays into the fact that many of these rubbers and different materials that they're using to make these shoes are really hazardous, and kind of adding into why I'm exploring this, to kind of feel like what it's like to be in these people's shoes. Just by experiencing a glimpse of this, maybe, you know, my hopes are that it would maybe make others think about where they buy their clothes and how often they buy their clothes and where their clothes are made.
This is Alyssa Lilliquist with Beaver News.
Well, that's all the time we have for you. I'm Kiana Hatch.
And I'm Kamelyn Bovinette. Thanks for watching. For more Beaver News, be sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, or watch us on YouTube. Have a great night.